the way we write, like, we're typically the way we write. We've been experimenting with new things lately, but like we write as a band. We just like write music. We play together. Like will play something, and I'll be like, "Oh, that sounds great." Like I'll play this drum part. What do you think? And then Yoli will add in a bass part or whatever. You know, it's interchangeable. And so a lot of times we just have like these instrumentals kicking around that are like full-fledged songs.
Yeah, like right now we probably have like 6 done songs that just don't have any singing.
Yeah, and then and then you know sometimes that can be like a nightmare because it's like you know. By the time Will gets around to having time to like sit down and like try to figure out how to write the lyrics, we might be sick of that, like the sound of that song, you know, like the instrumental.
We started out doing an EP. That was our intention when we went up there to the studio we recorded at this place, Marcata, and then
we were like pretty much gonna try like another EP and like see how that went and all that.
Yeah, we had like 3 days booked.
Yeah,
but eventually became like 30 something.
And perfect timing, like blew up. Like just it was like the first time we'd ever really like spent a real considerable amount of time like recording and like doing that whole thing. And so like we were doing overdubs and like he had this like Kevin McMahon up at Marcata. Like he had this. I think it was the band, one of the guys from the band's piano, right?
Yeah, Garth Hudson.
And it was like out in this huge cathedral ceiling barn, and Yoey's out there playing it, and like
there's
pigeons,
these
bird sounds on the thing.
Like there are all these,
and we just kept adding. Like we added like you know like different. We added like a Rhodes part and like all these things, and then at the end we were like, holy shit, like sounds really good. And he said, you know, he basically talked us into coming back and doing a whole album. So Sleepwalking was one of those ones that was like around for a little while. I remember we were out on tour and
playing it instrumentally,
and we were like, Yoey and I really wanted to play it, and so we like condemned Will to the back of the van for a couple of days to be like, you got to write lyrics to it, like you're gonna do it no matter what. And we like tried it in sound check in Washington D.C. and it was not good. And then like our next show was in Pittsburgh or something, and so like Will was stuck in the back seat the whole way, and we were like, when we get back to New York the next night, we're gonna play it. But we didn't end up playing it. But
I don't think we actually did.
We played it eventually. It was good though.
We can all play different instruments. I think it was the first time that we actually decided that we don't all have to play guitar, bass, and drums. So like Jeremiah played a lot of the keyboard parts on it. I played some piano on it, and we all played like a gazillion different guitars and weird stuff.
I played one keyboard.
Yeah,
We did play a keyboard.
and a lot of percussion. They did it while I was passed out.
Yeah, it was like either sick or at work, like a lot of times.
For most of it.
Oh, yeah, the recording process, like Will was there for like 27 days.
By himself.
I was there for like 17 days, and Yoey was there for like 2.5 hours.
I mean, it's nice because now, like lately, I mean, we've been a band for like 4 something years. Now is like the only time I actually feel like we have like a sound that I like, that I can like say, oh, you know, it sounds like us. Like only within the last few months. So that's nice. I forget what your question actually was, but
Well, it's like it's wild. Like,
it was leading to something.
the inspirations are weird, like because I feel like one of the main inspirations is like just trying not to sound like anything we've done before. Like in some, like we'll write a song, and then if we write another song that sounds similar to it, we'll be like, oh shit, that sounds too much like this other one. Even though at the end of the day, if like an objective listener listened to it, they'd be like, these things sound nothing alike, you know. But we'll sort of stick on that, and so like I think that sort of overall, like with the what you're saying about like the cohesiveness to the album or whatever, I think that leads to it. Like each song is sort of trying to do something different than the last. You know what I mean? We don't like Sleepwalking was a success and like people like it, but we haven't like sat down and said, let's write another Sleepwalking. You know what I mean? We're specifically trying not to do that. You know what I mean? Which is just to keep things sort of going and having things be new and different.
Yeah, that's the funny thing I think about the internet is like it's hard to like gauge how like successful a band is. Like I don't think we would largely consider ourselves to be pretty much unknown, but then all these people are like, you never played a Spanish festival? And you're like, we're doing well in Spain and Mexico, which means like I have to learn Spanish.
Australia too. Like
Australia.
We send like CDs to Australia.
It's always weird when you find out where people are buying the CDs. You know, there's this. Some people
Germany
are like
too.
Germany,
because
like Austria, weird places, and these people are like really into you. Or that Croatian guy who was really into you.
Oh yeah.
That guy's from
I mean, people just send the weirdest emails, you know, requesting the weirdest things. But it's nice to know that they're out there. You know.
Yeah, you figure if there's one guy in Croatia who actually writes you and is like, hey, and there must be at least one other guy in Croatia that has heard of you. Like, you know?
That's definitely a new development. Like, you know, in like the past couple months.
So yeah, we've got a couple shows next week, and then are probably gonna, we'll play locally a bit, but I don't think we'll really like tour or anything until maybe June at the earliest.
Yeah. Pretty wide open after that. If you got anything,
But-
up your sleeve.
Give us a call.
But yeah.
Bar mitzvahs, weddings, like we do it all.